In 522 BC, a king carved his story into a mountain, Behistun, western Iran. 15 meters high, 25 meters wide, 1,200 meters above the valley floor. The cliff is nearly vertical. One wrong step, a fall of 1,200 meters. For 2,500 years, the mountain kept its secret. 3 languages: Old Persian, Elamite, Akkadian. The same text, repeated 3 times. So no one could misunderstand. So no one could erase it. In 1835, a British officer named Henry Rawlinson came to Persia. He was 25 years old. He saw the inscriptions from the valley floor. He knew they held a secret. He climbed the cliff. No ropes, no safety equipment, just his hands and his boots. He risked death every day for weeks. He copied the Old Persian section first. It was the easiest. Then the Elamite. Then the Akkadian. It took him 12 years. In 1847, he completed the work. He deciphered the text. And what he found changed everything. The mountain spoke of a king named Darius. Darius the Great. He ruled an empire that stretched from India to Ethiopia. 44% of the world's population. No empire before or since has ever ruled such a large percentage of humanity. The mountain told the story of how Darius took the throne. How 9 provinces rebelled. How he fought 9 battles in 1 year. And won every single one. The mountain was Darius's message to the future. He wanted the world to remember him. For 2,500 years, the world forgot. Then Rawlinson climbed the cliff. And Persia spoke again. Stay with me. This is only the beginning. Before Darius, before Cyrus, before Persia itself, there was Elam. The Elamites built Susa, one of the oldest cities on earth. Founded in 4200 BC. Older than Rome by 3,000 years. Older than Athens by 2,500 years. Older than Jerusalem by 2,000 years. Susa was a city of mud bricks and clay tablets. The Elamites wrote in cuneiform. They had their own language, their own gods, their own government. They traded with Mesopotamia. They fought with Babylon. They survived for 2,000 years. Then came the Assyrians. The Assyrians were the most brutal empire the world had ever known. They built pyramids of severed heads outside conquered cities. They skinned their enemies alive. They impaled thousands on wooden stakes. In 645 BC, the Assyrian king Ashurbanipal marched on Susa. He burned the city to the ground. He scattered the Elamite people. He erased their cities from the map. He thought he had won. He was wrong. Because from the ashes of Elam, a new people rose. The Persians. At first, the Persians were nothing. A handful of tribes in the mountains of southwestern Iran. No army. No cities. No written language. They paid tribute to the Medes, their powerful neighbors to the north. They were invisible. Then came Cyrus. Cyrus the Great. Born around 600 BC. His grandfather, the king of the Medes, had a dream. A dream that his grandson would one day destroy him. The king ordered the baby killed. He gave the task to his commander. The commander could not do it. He gave the baby to a shepherd. The shepherd raised Cyrus as his own son. Cyrus grew up not knowing he was royalty. But blood knows blood. In 550 BC, Cyrus led a rebellion against his grandfather. The Mede army switched sides. They would not fight against the king's own grandson. The Mede Empire fell in a single year. And the Persian Empire was born. Cyrus was not like other conquerors. When he captured Babylon in 539 BC, he did not burn it. He did not enslave the people. He freed the Jews who had been held captive for 70 years. He told them, "Go home. Rebuild your temple." The Bible records this. The Cyrus cylinder, a clay artifact from 539 BC, confirms it. Today, the Cyrus cylinder sits in the British Museum. Most people walk past it without looking. They have no idea what it represents. The first declaration of human rights. Written 2,500 years ago. By a king the world forgot. After Cyrus came Darius. Darius the Great. He was not next in line. He took the throne in 522 BC after a period of chaos. Some said he was a usurper. Some said he murdered the real king. Darius knew the stories would follow him forever. So he carved his version into the mountain at Behistun. 9 provinces rose in rebellion after Darius took power. 9 battles in 1 year. Darius fought every single one himself. He won every single one. Then he executed the rebel leaders. He impaled some. He skinned others and stuffed the hides with straw. He hung their bodies on the walls of captured cities. So no one would forget. So no one would try again. Darius was a builder as well as a warrior. He divided the empire into 20 provinces, called satrapies. Each satrapy had its own governor, its own army, its own money. But all answered to Darius. He built the royal road, 2,500 kilometers long, from Susa to Sardis. 110 stations along the road, each with fresh horses. Messengers could travel the entire length in 7 days. A journey that took 90 days by foot. The Greeks had never seen anything like it. They wrote about it with envy, with fear, with wonder. Darius also built a new capital, Persepolis, the city of the Persians. He carved palaces into mountains. He built audience halls that could hold 10,000 guests. He decorated the walls with reliefs of every nation in his empire. Each nation brought gifts to the king. The Ethiopians brought ivory. The Arabs brought incense. The Indians brought gold. The Greeks brought bronze. Persepolis was not a political capital. No foreign ambassadors were received there. No laws were passed there. Persepolis was a ceremonial capital. Darius built it to impress. He wanted the world to see the power of Persia. And for 200 years, the world was impressed. At its height, the Persian Empire ruled 44% of the world's population. 44%. No empire before or since has ever matched that. The Roman Empire ruled 21%. The British Empire ruled 23%. Persia ruled 44%. And then, they fought the Greeks. In 499 BC, Greek cities in Asia Minor rebelled against Persian rule. Athens sent ships to help. Darius was furious. He asked his servants, "Who are these Athenians?" They told him, "A small city far to the west." Darius sent messengers to Greece demanding earth and water, symbols of submission. Some cities complied. Athens and Sparta killed the messengers. Darius had no choice. If he did nothing, every province would rebel. In 490 BC, he sent an army of 25,000 men across the Aegean Sea. They landed at Marathon, 26 miles from Athens. The Athenians had 10,000 soldiers. They were outnumbered. They should have lost. They won. The Persians retreated. Darius prepared an even larger army. But Egypt rebelled. And he died before he could return. His son Xerxes inherited the war. Xerxes was not his father. He was cruel. He was arrogant. He built a bridge of boats across the Hellespont. A mile of water. 2 bridges, side by side. When a storm destroyed the first bridge, Xerxes had his men whip the sea. "I will punish you," he shouted at the water. He threw chains into the waves. He branded the sea with hot irons. This actually happened. The Greek historian Herodotus recorded it. In 480 BC, Xerxes invaded Greece with an army of 150,000 men. The largest invasion force the world had ever seen. 300 Spartans held them at Thermopylae for 3 days. They all died. But they bought time. The Greeks evacuated Athens. Xerxes burned the city to the ground. Then, the Greek navy defeated the Persians at Salamis. Xerxes watched from a golden throne on the shore. He watched his fleet sink. He retreated. The war continued for another 30 years. But Persia never conquered Greece. And Greece never forgot. They wrote the histories. They told the stories. They made the Persians into villains. The Persians were decadent. The Persians were weak. The Persians deserved to lose. And the world believed them. For 2,500 years, the world believed them. By 330 BC, The Persian Empire was old. It had ruled for over 200 years. Then came Alexander of Macedon, 20 years old when he invaded. Brilliant, ruthless. He never lost a battle. He defeated the Persian army 3 times. At Granicus, 334 BC. At Issus, 333 BC. At Gaugamela, 331 BC. After Gaugamela, Alexander marched into Persepolis, the ceremonial capital of the Persian Empire. He burned it to the ground. The flames were so bright, they said, that they could be seen from 100 miles away. Alexander ordered the killing of every man, woman, and child. He wanted to erase Persia from history. And for a while, he succeeded. Alexander died in 323 BC, 32 years old. His empire collapsed immediately. But Persia did not come back. Not for 500 years. The land was ruled by foreigners. The Seleucids, the Parthians, the Sasanians rose in 224 AD. They claimed to be the heirs of ancient Persia. They rebuilt. They restored. They carved their own monuments at Naqsh-e Rostam. The tombs of Darius and Xerxes still stand there today, cut into the cliff face, 100 meters above the ground. Watching over the valley, the Sasanians built the Arch of Ctesiphon, the largest brick arch in the world, still standing after 1,800 years. They revived the Persian language. They revived the Persian religion. Zoroastrianism, the world's first monotheistic faith. The belief in one God, Ahura Mazda. The belief in good thoughts, good words, good deeds. The belief in heaven and hell. The belief in a final judgment. All of these ideas came from Persia. They influenced Judaism. They influenced Christianity. They influenced Islam. The 3 largest religions on earth all owe a debt to Persia. And then the Arabs came. In 651 AD, the Sasanian Empire fell to the Arab conquest. Persia became part of the Islamic Caliphate. The Persian language was pushed to the margins. Arabic became the language of government, of religion, of culture. For 300 years, Persia seemed to vanish. But it did not die. The Persians adopted Islam. But they made it their own. They kept their language alive, in poetry, in secret. By the 10th century, Persian poets were writing again. Ferdowsi spent 30 years writing the Shahnameh, the Book of Kings, 75,000 verses, 2,000 pages. The story of Persia from the beginning of time to the Arab conquest. Ferdowsi finished the poem in 1010 AD. 1,000 years later, it is still read, still quoted, still beloved. Ferdowsi saved the Persian language. Without him, you would not say Tehran. You would not say Iran. You would not say Persia. You would say something else. Something Arabic. Something that erased them. In 1935, the Persian government made a decision. They asked the world to stop calling them Persia. They asked the world to call them Iran. The name they had always used for themselves. Iran means land of the Aryans. 3,000 years old. It never disappeared. The world just forgot. But the name change caused confusion. Some people thought Iran was a new country. Some people thought Persia had vanished. Some people still do not know the truth. Persia did not vanish. It was always there, waiting to be called by its own name. In 2001, something extraordinary happened. In southeastern Iran, the Halil River shifted its course. The water carved a new path through the desert. And as the water moved, it uncovered something buried. Pottery, metalwork, buildings. A city that no one had seen for 5,000 years. They called it Jiroft. The artifacts were unlike anything archaeologists had ever seen. Carved chloride vessels, covered in intricate patterns. Serpents, eagles, mythical creatures. No one knew where they came from. No one knew who made them. Some scholars called it a lost civilization. Older than Mesopotamia. Older than Egypt. A kingdom that had been buried under sand for 5,000 years. Jiroft is still being excavated. Every year, new artifacts emerge. Every year, the story grows larger. In 2005, Archaeologists found a tablet with an unknown script. Not Old Persian, not Elamite, not cuneiform. A new language never seen before. They still cannot decipher it. The script of Jiroft remains a mystery. No one knows what it says. No one knows who wrote it. But most people have never heard of Jiroft. It is not in textbooks. It is not in documentaries. It is forgotten. Stay with me, because Jiroft is not the only forgotten kingdom. The history of Iran is not just glory. It is pain. It is survival. The Mongols came in 1219 AD. Genghis Khan, the greatest conqueror the world had ever seen. His army slaughtered 90% of the people in some Persian cities. They say the rivers ran red with blood. They say the air was thick with smoke for years. The Mongols destroyed the irrigation systems that had fed Persia for thousands of years. The Khanats, underground canals that brought water from the mountains to the desert. The Persians had invented them 2,500 years earlier. The Mongols filled them with the bodies of the dead. The land turned to desert. The people starved. By 1258 AD, the Mongols had conquered all of Persia. They ruled for 100 years. They did not rebuild. They did not restore. They just took. And then, Timur came. Timur the Lame. In 1381 AD, his army swept through Persia. He built pyramids of skulls outside the cities he destroyed. 70,000 skulls in one pyramid. 90,000 in another. He killed artists, poets, scientists. Anyone who could create beauty, he murdered. He said it was because he hated the world. Some historians believe Timur killed 5% of the world's population. 5%. And Persia was at the center of his destruction. But the people did not die. They endured. They rebuilt. They survived. Every empire that tried to destroy Persia failed. Alexander failed. The Arabs failed. The Mongols failed. Timur failed. But because Persia was not just a place. It was an idea. An idea that civilization matters. That knowledge matters. That beauty matters. The Persians gave the world the first postal service. The first refrigerated storage. The first windmills. The first batteries. The first backgammon. The first philosophy of human rights. They gave us gardens. The word paradise comes from the Old Persian word paradisa, meaning walled garden. Every time you walk through a beautiful garden, you are walking through Persia. They gave us wine. The oldest wine jar ever discovered, 7,000 years old, was found in the Zagros Mountains. They gave us poetry, Rumi, Hafiz, Ferdowsi. Their words are still read. 800 years later, Rumi is the best-selling poet in America today. 800 years after his death. A Persian poet, writing in Persian, in a language most Americans cannot read. But they buy his books. They quote his words. They feel his meaning. They gave us resistance. The idea that a people can be conquered, but never defeated. The world has tried to erase Persia. Alexander burned Persepolis. The Mongols burned libraries. The Arabs changed the language. The West changed the name. But Persia is still here. Not in textbooks. Not in museums. In the mountains. In the deserts. In the poetry. In the people who still call themselves Persian. Ancient Persia. The forgotten kingdom. The civilization that would not die. If this story moved you, please subscribe. Every view, every comment, every share helps uncover more forgotten stories. More civilizations buried under sand. More kingdoms waiting to be remembered. Thank you for walking through history. Peace to the whole world. With respect to the empire that time could not destroy.